Hello all, this is part 3 of my 3-part series on remaking international soccer/football. This video will focus on Asia and Oceania. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, what is the AOFC? The AOFC, or the Asian and Oceanian Football Confederation, would be a new confederation that combines the existing Asian Football Confederation and the Oceania Football Confederation. This new AOFC would feature two halves, an AOFC East half and an AOFC West half. Each half would have 3 subregions, so essentially the AOFC would have 6 total subregions. The AOFC East half would feature East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Oceania, while the AOFC West half would feature South Asia, Central Asia, and West Asia. Essentially, the subregions you see here mirrors what you see in the current AFC and Oceania. The only major changes would be Australia and Guam moving to Oceania. For national teams within this AOFC, the 4-year competition cycle is as follows. For the first year, the focus will be on the Asia-Oceania Cup, or the AOFC Cup. This pretty much replaces the Asian Cup. The second and third year will have 2 focal points. First, the regional competitions, that is your competitions for the East Asian Cup, the Southeast Asian Cup, Oceania Cup, Central Asia Cup, South Asia Cup, and West Asia, as well as a focus for qualifying for the World Cup and the AOFC Cup. And last, for the 4th year, there'll be a focus on qualifying for the World Cup or the AOFC Cup. So this essentially mirrors what is currently seen in AFC, more or less, only that it's expanded to include teams from Oceania. The World Cup qualifying format is as follows. The first round would feature playing games featuring the 2 lowest FIFA-ranked AOFC West teams and the 16 or more lowest FIFA-ranked AOFC East teams. Each series will feature a home and away leg for each team. Winners of the 2-legged series advance to the second round. In the second round, there will be a total of 12 groups of 4 teams. The AOFC East would feature 6 groups of 4 teams, as will the AOFC West, which will also feature 6 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 finishers of each group advance to the third round. The third round would feature a total of 4 groups of 6 teams. The AOFC East would have 2 groups of 6 teams, and the AOFC West will also have 2 groups of 6 teams. The top 2 finishers of each group automatically qualify for the World Cup, while the 4 third-place finishers of each group advance to a playoff. The aforementioned playoffs is as follows. These matchups would feature third-place AOFC East teams versus third-place AOFC West teams in a home and away playoff series. The winners of the playoffs qualify for the World Cup automatically, while the playoff loser with the best overall third-round performance qualifies for the Interconfederational Playoff. The AOFC Cup qualifying format mirrors the World Cup qualifying format, though it diverges later on. The first round would feature the 2 lowest FIFA-ranked AOFC West teams and the 16 or more lowest FIFA-ranked AOFC East teams. Each series will feature a home leg and an away leg for each team. Winners of the 2-legged series advance to the second round. The second round would have a total of 12 groups of 4 teams. In the AOFC East, that would be 6 groups of 4 teams, and in the AOFC West, also 6 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 finishers of each group advance to the third round, which is the World Cup and AOFC Cup qualifying track, while the bottom 2 finishers of each group are set to the AOFC Cup only qualifying track. They are eliminated from World Cup qualifying. The third round in the AOFC Cup qualifying is as follows. For the World Cup/AOFC Cup track, in the AOFC East, 2 groups of 6 teams, while in the AOFC West, 2 groups of 6 teams. The top 4 finishers of each group automatically qualify for the AOFC Cup, while the bottom 2 finishers of each group head to the AOFC Cup playoffs. As for qualification in the third round within the AOFC Cup only track, the AOFC East would feature 2 groups of 6 teams, while the AOFC West would also feature 2 groups of 6 teams. The 4 group winners advance to the AOFC Cup playoffs, while the 4 second-place finishers may also advance to the AOFC Cup playoffs, depending on the finishing position of the AOFC Cup hosts. Here are a hypothetical set of matchups in the first round under this format. Note that all the AOFC East teams are matched up against each other, while the 2 AOFC West teams are matched up against each other. In the AOFC East, there will be 2 pots for the drawing. There will be a Pot A featuring the higher half of FIFA ranked teams, while Pot B will be the lower half of FIFA ranked teams. So each one of these matchups within the AOFC East would feature a Pot A team versus a Pot B team. Meanwhile, in the AOFC West, it's the 2 lowest FIFA ranked teams within the AOFC West that are matched up against each other. So in this case, it's Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. Here is your mock AOFC/World Cup second round groups within the AOFC East, as you can see here on this screen. And here are your AOFC West groups. Again, these are hypothetical. Here are your hypothetical AOFC World Cup track third round groups. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. The Solomon Islands are listed here in Group B of the eastern half. The reason being, based on FIFA rankings that this mock-up is based on, they had the 12th highest rank of all AOFC East teams. Here are your hypothetical AOFC Cup only track third round groups. You can see the teams here listed on the screen. Playoffs for the AOFC Cup qualifying are as follows. The matchup would feature the 5th or 6th place AOFC East teams from the World Cup/AOFC Cup track versus the 1st or 2nd place AOFC West teams from the AOFC Cup only track, and the 5th or 6th place AOFC West teams from the World Cup/AOFC Cup track versus the 1st or 2nd place AOFC East teams from the AOFC Cup only track. The matchup format would feature home and away playoff legs. The first leg will be at the AOFC Cup only track team, while the second leg would be at the World Cup/AOFC Cup track team. The winners of the playoff qualify for the AOFC Cup. Here are your hypothetical AOFC Cup qualifying 2-legged playoff matchups, as you can see here on the screen. Switching topics, allocations for Olympics qualifying, as well as the U20 and U17 World Cup qualifying tournaments are as follows on the men's side. For East Asia, 3 teams. For Southeast Asia, 2 teams. For Oceania, 2 teams. For South Asia, 1 team. For Central Asia, 2 teams. And for West Asia, 4 teams. The last 2 spots will be decided via playoffs between the 4th place East Asian team, the 3rd place Southeast Asian team, the 3rd place Oceanian team, the 2nd place South Asian team, the 3rd place Central Asian team, and the 5th place West Asian teams. Seedings for the playoff teams are based on FIFA rankings. Allocations for all AOFC National Cup competitions on the women's side are as follows. For East Asia, 4 teams. For Southeast Asia, 3 teams. For Oceania, 3 teams. For South Asia, 1 team. For Central Asia, 2 teams. And for West Asia, 1 team. The last 2 spots will be decided via playoffs between the 5th place East Asian team, the 4th place Southeast Asian team, the 4th place Oceanian team, the 2nd place South Asian team, the 3rd place Central Asian team, and the 2nd place West Asian team. Seedings for playoff teams are based on FIFA rankings. For the Olympics qualifying tournament, as well as the U20 and U17 World Cup qualifying tournaments for both the men's and women's sides, the last 2 spots will be decided via a play-in tournament at the location of the qualifying tournament site. Seedings for the play-in teams are based on FIFA rankings. The first round will see the 3rd highest FIFA ranked playing team face the 6th highest ranked FIFA playing team, and the 4th highest FIFA ranked playing team play the 5th highest ranked FIFA playing team. The second round will feature the winner of the 4th ranked versus 5th ranked first round match against the highest FIFA ranked playing team, while the winner of the 3rd ranked versus 6th ranked first round match would face the 2nd highest FIFA ranked playing team. Finally, the 2 second round winners claim the final 2 slots in the qualifying tournaments. Regarding the AOFC Cup tournament sites, the tournament site will be rotated between AOFC East nations and AOFC West nations. So for example, a tournament that's held at an AOFC East nation one year will see the following AOFC Cup tournament held at AOFC West site the next time out. This will be true for the senior national version of the AOFC Cup, the U23 version, the U20 version, and the U17 version of this competition. This will also be true for both the men's version and the women's version of the AOFC Cup. Additionally, the U23 version of the AOFC Cup would serve as the Olympic qualifying tournament, while the U20 version of the AOFC Cup would serve as the U20 World Cup qualifying tournament, and the U17 version of the AOFC Cup would serve as the U17 World Cup qualifying tournament. Regarding the Women's World Cup qualifying, the senior version of the AOFC Cup on the women's side would also serve as the World Cup qualifying tournament. This tournament would feature 4 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 finishers of each group will advance to the knockout rounds of the AOFC Cup. Additionally, they will automatically qualify for the Women's World Cup. Meanwhile, the bottom 2 finishers of each group are sent to the losers bracket. They are eliminated from the AOFC Cup, but are still in contention to qualify for the Women's World Cup. Regarding the AOFC Cup knockout rounds, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals formats is unchanged from the current Asian Cup format, with the winner of the finals crowned AOFC Cup champions. The losers bracket is less straightforward. It would have a loser brackets quarterfinal, which would feature 3rd place teams versus 4th place teams. The matches would feature teams from different groups, so teams in the same group that finished 3rd and 4th would not face each other. In fact, the teams from the same groups will be placed in opposite halves of the bracket. The 4 quarterfinal winners advance to the loser bracket semifinals, while the 4 quarterfinal losers are eliminated from World Cup qualifying contention. There will then be a losers bracket semifinals. The 2 teams that win their semifinal games qualify for the World Cup. There would be no loser brackets finals. For the 2 teams that lose the semifinals, they will then have to play each other. The winner of this match qualifies for the World Cup Interconfederational Playoff. The loser of this match is eliminated from World Cup qualifying. Regarding the Olympic qualifying tournaments, as well as the U20 and U17 World Cup qualifying tournaments on both the men's and women's sides, for the Olympics qualifying tournaments, the 2 finalists and the 3rd place finishers qualify for the Olympics. There are no losers bracket. For the U20 and U17 World Cup qualifying tournaments, the U20 and U17 AOFC Cup semifinalists qualify for their respective U20 or U17 World Cups. Additionally, the 5th place team, the winner of the U20 U17 AOFC quarterfinals losers bracket, also qualifies for their respective U20 or U17 World Cups. In the scenario that there are only 4 available qualifying spots for the U20 or U17 World Cups, there would be no quarterfinals losers bracket. Only the tournament semifinals qualify for these World Cups. Benefits of this format are many. First, we will see decreased travel for many national teams during World Cup and Confederational Cup qualifying. For AOFC East teams facing teams in Oceania, a road trip format can be implemented. So, for example, Japan and China would make the trip to Australia and New Zealand during one international window and play those 2 teams. And then during a subsequent international window, Australia and New Zealand will make a return trip to Japan and China and face those 2 teams there. A second benefit would see the increased number of national teams in the latter stages of World Cup qualifying. Finally, we will have more meaningful matches for current AFC teams eliminated from World Cup contention after the second round and current OFC teams. Alright, that's all that I have. Thank you for watching this video. This video is part of a larger 3-part series whose thumbnail should be appearing on your screen now. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe out there.